So in the end, I think for me, I just was worn out by the end of that whole situation. Even after I got divorced, after I had gone into emotional situations that were inappropriate. It isn't, people talk about, you're not supposed to have sex with, you're not supposed to have sex when you're not married, or all those sexual sins or whatever. But I think for me personally, I recognize that it's about my heart, because, if somebody rapes somebody that has nothing to do, like if somebody rapes a girl, that has nothing, the girl's part in that has nothing to do with her sexual purity. Her heart is still pure. It has nothing. The body is that's a violent, terrible act, but it has nothing to do with her purity, sexual purity. It's not her fault, it's not her fault. Like, her heart was pure. And that's the thing, is that we put so much emphasis on what do we do with our bodies? Like, how far is too far? What can we do here? Like, and it's not about your body. It's about your heart. And then when your heart's right, you'll take care of your body in a right way, because we're, and I think about, because there was a lot of questions on there about how far is too far and all that. And that's a real question. But the thing is that, so should I just go into where I met Josh? Because that's the best part. So I just decided that I didn't want to be married. I had been in and out of emotional, physical drama after drama. I was just worn out, and I'm like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And it's sad when we have to get to that place, but I think it's also a place where we can be free from a lot of things, because we don't have to believe lies and we don't have to keep going in that cycle. So I just said to God, I don't know anything about love or romance, and I lie to myself all the time about this, so I just don't want to do that. Okay, can I just marry you? We'll just be me and you, like a nun, except I'm not going to be Catholic. We'll just,
Show the tattoo, come on.
Yeah, so I got this tattoo, Beulah, which means married. I wore a white dress when I got it. It means married. And in this verse, Isaiah 62, it says, your maker's your husband. And I said, that's what I want. I'm going to do that. But there's this great verse, there's this great passage where Jesus is talking to the Pharisees, and they're asking questions like, can we divorce our wives? Is there any reason why? Blah, blah, blah. And he says, God intended marriage, Adam and Eve, and he said, what God has joined together, don't let man separate. And they said, well, if that's the case, then it's better not to get married, because in that day they just divorced their wives for whatever reason. They don't want to be married, they just divorced. So he's better not to be married. And he said, that's a hard teaching. Only those who it's been given can accept it. And I realized, well, I don't know if that's what I've been given. So I know that I just wanted what was going to make me love God better. So I said, God, I'm just going to find. So I fasted and prayed about whether or not I was supposed to be married, or supposed to be single, because I wanted to marry God. But if that wasn't going to make me a better Christian, then I didn't want to take that for myself. It was going to make my life harder, because I'm in a rock band. I'm not anymore. I don't know if you knew that. I stepped down from that position, which has been a lot of freedom for me, and I'm really thankful. I don't know if any of you knew about that, but I was in a rock band, and there was dudes everywhere. There's no girls in that environment. And a lot of the guys, we toured with Korn and Slipknot and Deftones and all their crews and Skillet, but but the thing is that it's hard for, those guys have never seen a girl that they hardly ever see Christian girls there in that situation, So when they see a Christian girl, a girl that wants to love people for who they are, and really cares about their heart, and they talk in that way and they carry themselves a certain way, that's very intriguing to a guy, especially if he's never seen it. It's like they're like, wow, and especially when you have insight, you care about that, and you speak to their life about something. They're like, wow, you're different from every girl I've ever known. And then they have feelings for you, because they've tasted the Spirit of Jesus and they want it. If they don't know him, especially. So you have to be like, well, that's Jesus that you love. It's not me, it's Jesus, and you just need Jesus. I mean, that's the reason why I said anything to you. It's Jesus. He's the one you want. And that's a hard thing, because then you end up hurting people, breaking hearts and stuff. So I was like, I know that it can be hard to be single and be in a band and do what you call me to do, but what did you call me to? Did you call me to be married or not? And then, so I'm reading this book about purity in relationships, because how do you have relationships when you're with boys and not have that happen? And the book's about getting married, and I didn't find that out till the middle. And it's like, I didn't want to get married, so I didn't care about that. But I read the middle, and it was like telling you to make a list. The book's called The Bride Wore White. I get that question a lot. What book was it? But in the middle, it says, make a list of what you want in a husband. And I didn't want to do that, so I skipped to the next chapter. And the next chapter had to do with the list, and the next time I opened the book, it's like fell open on this page, and then my eyes fall on the page, and it says, the girl says, I don't want to do this because I didn't want to get married. And I was like, maybe I should read this. And so I felt like I should write the list, and I made fun of the list by making it impossible. And I did like 60 things, ridiculousness, very detailed, very ridiculous, like, okay, make him this way and this way and this way, and he has to be shy, but he has to pursue me, even though I'm a rock star, and da-da-da-da, and on and on. So anyway, so it made it a lot easier, because when it wasn't the guy, it wasn't the guy. I'm like, I don't want to get married anyway, and you're not on the list, so I'm busy. And so then when it did look like it could be the guy, I'm like, okay, I gotta go do something, because you're supposed to pursue me, and I'm busy. You know what I mean? That's what y'all need to learn, that phrase, girls. I'm busy, okay? And so it's funny, because I remember my tour manager, we saw this was a week before I met Josh. There's this one guy that really fit the list, and my tour manager was like, Lacey, give him your number. I'm like, I'm not doing that, and if you do that, we're not talking anymore. Don't you do that. She's like, I'm going to give him your number. And I was like, you'll get fired. So she didn't. And he didn't ask for my number, so he wasn't the one. And that was a great feeling, because he was a cool guy, but he wasn't the one. So I got to pray for him when I left. I didn't pray for him. But after we were leaving, I was like, God bless that guy and help him find a wife and blah, blah, blah. And then the next week, Josh came to a show that we were playing, and I met him, and at first I didn't think he fit the list, because I thought his eyes were just brown, and I wanted hazel eyes. Although everything else seemed to fit, but I thought, well, he's not the one, because his eyes are whatever. And it said on the list, don't be too picky about the physical things, but I'm like, I don't want to get married anyway, so... So then later on, he was hanging out, and everybody, the band and crew, and we get one hotel room so everybody can shower in it. And so everybody's waiting for a shower in the hotel room, and Josh comes up. He's hanging out too with everybody, and his tour manager, or his band's manager, was friends with our drummer. So he's had to hang out with her, and she wanted to hang out with the drummer, so he's in the room. And we're talking, and I'm just talking to him, not thinking nothing, because he's not the one, and whatever. And then all of a sudden somebody moves out of the lamplight, and the light hits his eyes, and I was like hazel. And I was like, I was like, okay, well, I'm not talking to you anymore. And then he left. He didn't ask for my number, and I thought, well, he's not the one. I'll just pray for him, And then the next day, he called our tour manager, Scotty, and said, can I get that Lacey's number? I don't know if she's just being nice, but I just wanted to see if I could get her number. And he asked me, and he said, you remember that guy Josh? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, he wanted to know if he could get your number. I was like, yes! So it was awesome, because after that, I didn't know how to date either. Our pastor at the time, he kind of I was like, can you please help me? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. I mean, all I know is that I'm passionate, and when I love somebody, I just want to hug them and just want to be near them, you know what I mean? And just want to be careful. And so he talked to us about talked to me about how to guard my heart, you know, and how to respect Josh's wife if I wasn't his wife. And he talked to Josh as well about how to respect my husband if he wasn't my husband, and how to treat him as a brother. If I wouldn't do it with my brother, then he may not be my husband. So I'm not going to give that away. You know, I'm going to honor him as a brother, and I'm going to honor his wife too. And so until I know he's my husband, he's not going to see that part of me. And so whenever, after 7 months, he asked me if I would be his girlfriend, and we dated. And that was just like, okay, we asked questions like you would in case you wanted to marry somebody. And then when he asked me to marry him 3 months later, then that was the first time he kissed me. And it was so amazing. And we didn't sleep together until we got married. And I never would have believed that if I hadn't lived through it, because I didn't think that was possible. But it is. So.